Bibby setting a screen for Johnson. Wade trying to fight through. Picked up by Haslam on the switch. They double him, however. Here's Josh Smith going in strong. And a pass to Pachulia for the basket.
Byron Scott gets a technical foul. Shot. He could be out of here.
But that's just the kind of thing that this team thrives on.
This is the fun part of the playoffs. All the contact, all the flagrant fouls.
Ball flies into J.R. Smith.
Tonight, the Nollins crew will fight to prove they still have what it takes to be serious playoff contenders.
Great players don't have to play great all the time. Great players play great most of the time.
Game 4, Nuggets-Hornets starts next. It is on in New Orleans as we see Carmelo Anthony getting ready for a big night down in New Orleans. I don't mean eating crawfish either. He's getting ready. He's serious about this game. And there is CP3, Chris Paul, who will have to put in a lot of time tonight if he hopes to lead his team to a victory. And, Gary, I have a feeling that New Orleans is going to have it going tonight.
I think so. If he can come
Even though that you don't think that they're going to win.
Even though you gave up on them around Halloween.
Even though you picked them and you went back on them.
I'm still thinking that
here are the keys of the game.
See, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Let's take a look at the game strategy presented by World of Warcraft.
Well, my keys of the game: 1, Lil Wayne must sing the national anthem. If Lil Wayne sings the national anthem, the crowd is going to get pumped up, and I know they can do their thing.
I thought Lil Wayne was a rapper.
He is.
And he sings?
No, but he can rap it. Oh, say, can you
sing?
I mean, he can rap it, and then after Lil Wayne does that, the offense must not be stagnant. We talked about that earlier, actually, on both ends. Smart shot selection, which goes with 1A, which is not be stagnant. And another thing, GP mentioned this the other night when he said we'd let a certain player score and make everyone beat him. I would let CP3 have 30 points, hope he played 72 minutes, and let everybody else shoot whenever they wanted to and put the pressure. Because CP3 has shown time and time again he can do it. So I would just try to put the pressure and let others try to win that game for them tonight, GP.
Well, mine is David West needs to have a big game. He has not been here all playoffs to me. Last year, that's what he was doing. He was having big games against San Antonio and making his team be a great basketball team. CP has to be aggressive. He must have 25 and 15. If he does that, like you've seen, he had 32 and 12 last game and they won the game. And then my main purpose right here, everybody must contribute. Like I said, James Posey, Rasul Butler, all of them have to have big games. And then you said Tyson
You know what's
Chandler.
funny? Look, me and you, it's just like you coaching the other teams. Because I'm in the locker room, I'm saying, look, we're going to make everybody else beat us. Yeah. But James Posey and them better make shots. When you telling your team, listen, James, we need you to make shots tonight.
I got you.
Because we're going to shoot it, go ahead.
I wish he was like last year when he was with Boston, when he was making all them big shots.
And let me tell you, here's a little story that Coach Scott said to CP3. He said that, to sum it up pretty much, he told his players, great players don't have to play great all the time, but great players play great most of the time. He was telling Chris Paul that. James Posey was sitting next to him, and he said, well, I think Byron was talking to me.
That's what he's supposed to. If he thinks he's a great player, he didn't want two championships in the last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So he understands, you know. So that's what he's saying. If he thinks that way, then come on out there and make them big shots.
It's a fine line. It's confidence, man. You have to have that confidence. And I bet you that when Byron Scott saw that, I bet you Byron had a little more respect for him, because if you say you're the superstar, that means you're supposed to work harder than everybody. You're in the gym longer than everybody. You'll check the best person. You'll do what it takes. So it's a lot of responsibility.
So what about the whole thing that the players don't really start till the home team loses?
I mean, I've never really bought into that, because if you're up 2-0 and you got to go home, I feel like we're gonna beat you on your home floor. I don't buy into that. I mean, Gary and those guys are a perfect example, because I think y'all lost two and came back and won everything. You know what I'm saying, in the championship.
We lost the first 2 at Dallas, and then we won our 3, and then we came right back in Game 6 and beat them on their home court. So that don't make no difference. I mean, if you're in the momentum and you're playing very well, then you're gonna beat whoever.
I didn't say I thought that. I said I read that somewhere.
Oh. Yeah, that's what it is.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more right after that. Honestly, I really don't feel that way. I just read it somewhere.
Watch out for Nollins.
I haven't heard you say his name in a long time.
That's your guy.
Hey, he ain't still on the honeymoon.
He been on the honeymoon. He ain't came back yet.
Nene, we need you, baby.
Yeah, he got married during All-Star, and now it's May. Okay, so and Chauncey Billups averaging 73% from the three-point line. Here's the New Orleans Hornets lineup, and who needs to step up here?
I think
Stojakovic. Yeah, I do too. I think he shouldn't be averaging 11. I think he should be averaging around 18, 19.
There's 2 All-Stars up there.
Yeah, and West
too.
You know, and that's why I really, we really have to watch basketball teams during the full season. You saw when West made the All-Star game, a great player, but we kept saying that it's about how you're playing at that time. And he's not a one-on-one player. You look up there, Peja's probably one of the best three-point shooters in this game, not a one-on-one player. We say every night you need about 20 to 23 assists to win. If Chris Paul, like GP said, is getting 9 and your team is getting 4 more, these other guys cannot score. So it's up to CP3 tonight. It's sad, but it's really on his back, because if he had, players that did one-on-one, it may be a little bit easier as well.
We are going to take a break, and when we come back...
You're good. He ain't that good.
We're moments away from tip-off in New Orleans as the Hornets and Nuggets get ready to go at it. The NBA. One last quick thought before we throw it out to New Orleans.
Denver.
No. Oh, no. Okay.
Okay, that's your
Denver. That's what I thought.
Okay.
You're gonna see the Pittsburgh Steelers, the terrible towels. You're gonna see that in there tonight. They're gonna be waving all night, the terrible towels in New Orleans.
And what's your thought?
My thought is I think I'll throw it out to Steve Smith and Rick Camlin for the call of the game.
All right, Ahmad, GP, and C-Web, thank you very much. And we welcome the world to New Orleans Arena for Game 4 between the New Orleans Hornets and Denver Nuggets, the 2-7 series in the West, with the Nuggets holding a 2-1 series lead. 3 major themes heading into this Game 4. 1, injuries. Chris Paul, James Posey, Tyson Chandler, all banged up for the Hornets. Carmelo Anthony and Nene coming banged up for the Denver Nuggets. And they probably will be even more injured upon leaving the floor after this game. It promises to be even more physical than it was in Game 3. And you see Chris Paul, the talk leading into Game 4 for him. Will he play the full 48?
Well, I think he will, Rick. When you look at this guy, he's a warrior. And I think when you look at playoff basketball, end of the season, and the way they're playing, everybody's a little banged up. But you're in playoffs, you can't think about your injuries. 2 things in basketball, Rick. Either you can play or you can't play. There's no in between. And you see these guys lining up, so they're ready to play.
And we are ready. It is a packed house here at the Hive, as they call it down here in New Orleans. Big game, obviously. Denver looking to put a stranglehold on this series, going up 3-1. New Orleans trying to tie it up at 2 and make it a best of 3. The tap is won by Nene. Back to Mr. Big Shot, Chauncey Billups. And Billups comes in 4th in the NBA playoffs in scoring, absolutely going off nightly. 27.7 PPG. First shot of the game is off the mark. Chauncey Billups got the shot and missed it. And Dante Jones once again picking up Chris Paul. We saw a little bit less of him on Paul in Game 3.
And you know what? They need more of Dante Jones. He's a big physical guy. He's going to give Chris Paul problems. I think the biggest thing is for Chris Paul is you see a bigger defender. And I think it's great for Chauncey Billups is saving his legs.
David West, first shot of the game for New Orleans, and that is a good sign. David West comes in just 17.3 PPG, down about 4 from his regular season average, shooting just 37% in this series.
Well, the biggest thing for him is his jump shot hasn't been going, and I think Kenyon Martin has done a great job. But if you can get a chance to knock down shots and his post game, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Kenyon.
Kenyon Martin throws it down right in the face of Tyson Chandler. We're tied at 2.
Those are 2 guys on New Orleans defensively, Tyson Chandler and also Peja Stojakovic. You have to step up. You're the bigs. You can't let a guy walk down the lane and get a dunk.
Chris Paul looking for Tyson Chandler. He was knocked down by Carmelo. Peja Stojakovic, open 3 is off, and that is news. Peja has been on fire from beyond the arc, shooting 47% in this series. And Peja on Melo, that's a key matchup.
Well, it's definitely a key matchup. And I'm under, right now, if I'm the Denver Nuggets, my first 5 plays is going to Carmelo against Peja Stojakovic. 2 things. 1, Peja's not a great defender, and also he's a 3-point shooter. You try to take his legs by him playing defense.
Shot clock running down. Nene says no problem. Nene playing with a left wrist injury, and his numbers have dropped with each game. 12 in Game 1, 8 in Game 2, just 2 points in Game 3.
And that's surprising for me because you look at the front line of Tyson Chandler and David West, and then the guys coming off the bench. They don't really have a lot of guys in their front line. Nene should be playing better.
David West, little ball fake on Nene. Caught him between going glass and just shooting it straight on. Rebound to Carmelo Anthony. Denver with the rock up 2 early on. Good close by Rasul Butler on Billups. Chauncey gets the step on him, goes up, draws the foul, and Chauncey Billups will head to the free throw line, where in this series shooting 93%.
Well, you look at this play right here. Rasul Butler, well, this play before this, Kenyon Martin come down. You can't have guys swiping at it.
Oh.
Peja, Tyson Chandler, get your body in front. Tyson Chandler, you're a shot blocker, right? You got to go get it. You can't just stand there, Rick.
Tyson Chandler dealing with a sprained ankle that cost him 15 games late in the season as Chauncey hits the first free throw. Chandler said, and I quote, "I can't cut the way I want to. I can't sprint the way I want to. I can't even jump the way I want to." He's playing, I don't know what percent, maybe 70-75%. As you take a look at George Karl.
When we look back in history, win or loss, people are not going to go by how hurt were you. Guess what, Rick? You got to come out here and play. You got to give it all you got. If you're 75%,
Steal by Chauncey. He picked Rasul Butler's pocket. No foul called there, and Dante Jones follows it up. And anything you get from him on the scoring end is gravy.
It is. Broad daylight, Rasul Butler. I know you're going against Chauncey Billups, but as a guy 6'7", you're handling the basketball. You pick a spot, Rick, and you just run to it. You get the ball across half court.
Paul fouled by Kenyon Martin. And Paul says to Dante Jones, "Get off me." And Denver, a similar start to the game that they had in Game 3. They had a 10-0 lead to start out Game 3. Here's another look.
You like this. That's good. Good. He slid his feet very well, Kenyon Martin. But you look at Dante Jones, Chris Paul. They're trying to get in his head. Chris Paul, you got to stay in the game. Don't get caught up because the Hornets need you more than enough to need Dante Jones.
Foul on Dante Jones, and he is talking to Chris Paul. But Paul is so mentally tough, Dante Jones is not going to get into his brain as Peja Stojakovic drives and scores with the left hand.
You know, you love that about Peja. When your guy shoots a lot of threes, people overplay. And sometimes you got to show a different look by driving the basketball, getting into the lane, and that loosen guys up to knock down threes.
Kenyon Martin probably should have just shot that from the elbow. Back comes Chris Paul and the Hornets. Had Butler open for a moment. That lane cut off. Peja down low to Tyson Chandler. A rare post-up opportunity for him. Goes to the hook shot. It's off. Rebound to Kenyon Martin. Tyson Chandler's scoring has dipped with each game, basically. 6 points in Game 1, 7 in Game 2, 2 in Game 3 as Carmelo Anthony hits for the Nuggets.
You know, I'm old school, Rick. I love Carmelo knocking down that shot, but for me to help your team, you back down Peja Stojakovic, draw the double team, or you go at him and get him in foul trouble. Your jump shot's going, that's great. He can get that shot anytime he wants.
Chris Paul caught Peja Stojakovic on the move. Shot clock below 10. CP3 below the free throw line. The shot is blocked, and then they got that rear end right into Chris Paul's face. Back come the Nuggets, shooting 57% thus far. Chauncey Billups will take it, and he will make it. Chauncey Billups, 74% from three-point range coming in.
Right now, the Denver Nuggets is getting whatever they want, shooting 63%. Byron Scott, if they don't get a basket on this possession, you definitely got to stop this run with a timeout and try to readjust.
Back out to Peja, and he hits the shot. Peja Stojakovic along two, and a much-needed basket for New Orleans. Stojakovic now has 4 points on 2 of 3. Carmelo one-on-one against Peja, drives in and he is fouled.
Look at these guys going at it. You know, it's a lot of physical play. This is just good basketball. This is good playoff basketball to me. You know, the one thing the referee's going to have a hard time today is seeing what's a flop, what's acting, and what's real.
And Chris Paul said before the game, it got kind of ugly yesterday talking about Game 3, but that's the intensity of the playoffs. That's what makes it so fun and exciting. I'm not sure he'd be saying the same thing about getting that big rear end of Nene in his face on the box out right there. And Dante Jones definitely trying to get rough with Chris Paul as Carmelo Anthony hits a pair of free throws. He was not good at the line in Game 3, just 4 of 8. Carmelo Anthony with 4 points. Denver leads by 9.
This is good defense by Kenyon Martin. He's making David West work, keeping him off the block, active hands. I think what David West has to do is face up against Kenyon Martin. He's not going to be able to back him down.
Tyson Chandler kept it alive. The rebound comes to Chauncey Billups. Under 7 minutes to go in this first quarter. Glad to have you with us on NBA TV. Billups, ill-advised shot, and it goes.
When you start knocking down shots like that, you're starting to get into a rhythm. And I think right now, Rasul Butler, with your height and length, you got to make sure you contest shots a little bit better than that. You just got to get in your defensive stance. Defense wins playoff games.
67% shooting for the Denver Nuggets. The Hornets, Byron Scott's squad not playing the defense he wants. We'll be right back. Back to the New Orleans Arena. In New Orleans, Louisiana, the Denver Nuggets 17-6. They lead, 6:35 to go in the first. Rick Hamler, Steve Smith on the call for NBA TV. The look on Byron Scott's face says it all. And coming in, the talk's been revolving around the physical play. 58 fouls in Game 3, 29 for each team. 3 flagrant fouls, 2 technical fouls, 1 on Byron Scott, and that is a rarity. Typically a mild-mannered coach. 3 injuries in the game. Paul injured his knee, Carmelo Anthony re-injured his right elbow, and James Posey sprained his knee. Chris Paul limping around before the shoot-around this morning, and obviously he's playing and giving the best he can. Chauncey Billups out here off to a great start, leads everybody with 7 points, 2 of 4 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3.
Well, you look at it right here for Byron Scott. I think there's a situation right now, he cannot be happy the way defensively the Hornets have started off. The one thing he's probably happy is that Peja Stojakovic, the other guy, the other big 3, he's starting to play hard, he's playing aggressive. But for right now, the biggest thing for these guys is the Hornets, they have to get stops. And if you're the Nuggets, George Karl, he's happy because everything is going well.
Peja just missed it. Tyson Chandler, maybe if he were healthy, he would have grabbed that rebound. As it was, he just flailed at it and went to Denver. Chauncey back for the Nuggets. Trying to build on this 11-point lead. Melo probing out to Kenyon Martin. It is good, and it's all good for the Denver Nuggets, shooting 70% now in this first quarter. They lead by 13.
When you have Kenyon Martin knocking down shots, you just have another weapon because he's opening up the court because he's knocking down shots. And that's giving Chauncey Billups, Carmelo Anthony a lot of room to get into the paint and probe and make plays.
Chris Paul's first bucket of the game. And when he gets below that free throw line, it's murder for the opposition. And when Chauncey Billups gets to the rim like that, Byron Scott saying that's too easy.
I mean, you can't have a half-court situation where Chauncey Billups, with not even a great move, just an average move, lays the basketball, but there's no Tyson Chandler, no David West. Right now, defensively is where the Hornets are really struggling.
The double on Paul, and Dante Jones will pick up the foul. And here comes number 41 in white, James Posey. Sixth man extraordinaire for the New Orleans Hornets. Won a ring with Miami back in 06. They won a ring last year with the Boston Celtics, and he was critical in turning it around in the first half of Game 3. Had 12 of his 13 points in the first half.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at James Posey, he means a lot to all ball clubs, especially for the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. But for this New Orleans Hornets team right now, I think he's going to have to play a lot of power forward. Tyson Chandler is really not giving you nothing right now, offensively or defensively. So I think right now you just have to go small. You're not getting stops anyway. So right now you don't need rebounding because the Nuggets are making every shot. Spread the court and try to get back in this thing offensively with Posey at the 4.
The Nuggets a +4 on the boards, 7-3. James Posey sprained his knee in Game 3. There you see the brace. And the word on Posey is that he's going to try not to aggravate his knee here in Game 4. Have fun trying to pull that off in a series and in a game like this. Here's West, and that is his sweet spot, and he misses the shot. Rebound to Peja. And Paul will reload for New Orleans. 5 minutes to go in this first quarter. Here's West making his move on Nene. All kinds of hands, and they're making it tough on him.
Yeah, they are. And I think for me, if I'm Chris Paul and New Orleans Hornets, I keep Peja Stojakovic, Chris Paul in pick and rolls because you have more of options when a guy can spread the court and shoot threes.
I mean, Tyson Chandler is active in there, but he's not making anything happen.
He's playing hard, but he's not getting anything done right now, Rick.
Well, obviously Bill Walton played for John Wooden, so this came from the great John Wooden. He says, don't mistake activity for achievement, and that's what's going on right here with Tyson Chandler. Sean Marks into the game for Chandler, and Sean Marks was nice in Game 3. He had 7 points in the first half, 8 for the game in 26 minutes, and 6 rebounds, 2 blocks. Byron Scott was raving about him after the game.
That's just too easy. I mean, defensively right now, Paige Stojakovic, David West, no communication. No one called out the switch. Both guys just stood there, picked a little pick from 2 guys, and no one communicated. You got an easy layup.
Denver has made 6 straight field goals. The lead is 15. Chris Paul defended well. Rebound snatched by Dante Jones. And Denver looking to keep the pedal to the metal. Nene faces up on West, given room, and he knocks down the shot.
I mean, when you look at it right now, this 17-4 run, they're knocking down jump shots. Chauncey's getting layups. Carmelo's getting layups. Well, right now, Byron Scott has to be just pretty much angry with his guys. These guys are not shooting the lights out, Rick. They're getting anything they want. First option on their offensive plays called. They're not running the shot clock down. Whoever has it is making the basket, making the play, and they're shooting, 77% for the first quarter. Not good for the Hornets.
And they're killing them on the glass, 9-4. Byron Scott and this Hornet team, they were in a similar spot in game number 3, a huge first quarter deficit. They were able to rally and climb out of it, and actually then almost coughed up the game. They had an 11-point lead with 3:13 to go, and Denver had 2 game-winning opportunities from Carmelo Anthony. One below the free throw line was a real good look, and another one from about the timeline. But right now, the Nuggets and Hugo the Hornet in a lot of trouble, down 25-8. 4 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Hugo is still doing his job. He's working.
They are doubling Chris Paul, getting the ball out of his hands, and James Posey slips. The foul on Chauncey Billups, and C. Webb said in the pregame show that you got to make others beat you. Don't let Chris Paul beat you. That's what the Nuggets are doing right now, but a little help right here for the Nuggets. The second foul on Chauncey Billups.
Well, you're right. I think when you know what Chris Webber is saying is, here's a guy that has to do so much. Don't let him be that guy because he's capable. Make some of these other guys, these role players, score the basketball. Some guys are not used to taking 20 shots, 15 shots, and they start to hesitate. And right now, this whole offense runs through Chris Paul. And right now, they're struggling. Chris Paul's struggling. They don't have a lot going on right now, Rick.
Correction, that was the first foul on Chauncey Billups. And another futile offensive possession for Byron Scott's Hornets. They come in here, the 7th seed, George Karl's Denver Nuggets, matched a franchise high for wins. And this might finally be the year, Smitty, and they have a lot of work to do here against the New Orleans Hornets, but you get the feeling this might finally be the year that they can get out of that first round.
I mean, it's a great feeling. The way they're playing, where Chauncey is looking, his legs are looking fresh. They're playing well with Carmelo not even exploding yet. But other guys like J.R. Smith, and I'm happy the way Kenyon is moving around. They have a deep team. They playing good.
The Nuggets started this game 3 of 6 from the field. They have made their last 8 shots, and they are pummeling the Hornets at the high. 27-8 over 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. West with a touch, facing up on Kenyon Martin. Drives, tried to spin, lost the ball, and it was not touched by Kenyon. David West just let it slip out of his hands.
Well, defense is contagious. I mean, Kenyon Martin is setting the tone, and Dante Jones is setting the tone out top. Oh, we know Chauncey's going to slide his feet, but Carmelo is getting up into Peja. All 5 guys are trying to win this defensively. Yes, they're scoring, but you can tell what they're doing right now on the defensive against the Hornets. They're taking them out every set.
Well, on that possession, the Hornets doubled Carmelo Anthony, got the ball out of his hands. Jones the miss. Here's Posey. Got to make this one, and he does, and it seems like whenever you need a big bucket from James Posey, he delivers.
He does. I mean, when you look at it right now, they need a lot of guys that can knock down threes. Inside, David West is not scoring. Obviously, Tyson's not right now, and you're not going to go to Sean Marks. So they're going to have to live and die with these last 2 minutes in this quarter on shooting threes.
Fantastic look from Carmelo Anthony to Nene. He pounds the nail. 29-11 Denver. 2:18 to go in the first quarter. Points in the paint. Denver more than doubling up the Hornets.
I mean, points in the paint, points everywhere. Right now, Rick, you know, for me, the Hornets right now doesn't have a guy that can drive the basketball besides Chris Paul, put his head down and get to that free throw line.
Well, David West put his head down, did not get the foul or the bucket. Back comes Billups. They do not have numbers, however, so he peels back out. So smart, so heady with the basketball. Nene works against Sean Marks. Sean Marks fouls Nene, and he will head to the free throw line. And that is a mismatch of epic proportions. 1:49 to go in the first quarter. The Denver Nuggets want to head back to the Pepsi Center for Game 5 with a 3-1 lead. So far, so good. In the regular season, 40% here through the first 3 games of this series. Nene has had a breakout year, but it has been a fantastic series for him. Averaged 14.6 points and 7.8 rebounds during the regular season.
And that's what's scary about the Nuggets. You know, Carmelo Anthony hasn't had a breakout series. Nene has not had a real good series, and they're still playing well. Chauncey Billups has been fabulous, but you look at the other guys, it's been the J.R. Smiths, it's been the Dante Jones, not stats-wise as far as points, but defensively, and that's how you win games, and that's how you try to win championships.
They have a foul on David West. Moving screen on Dante Jones. And the 20-point lead for Denver now could swell.
Well, this foul is made by Dante Jones. Getting through screens, playing hard, and right now frustration is setting in on the Hornets side.
And that is foul number 2 on David West. And the Hornets now over the limit. Chauncey Billups cut off nicely there by D. West. Kenyon Martin shoots it right in his face, in and out. Rebound to Posey. Very important for the Hornets here to end this first quarter on a high note. But can they do it? No dice. Chris Paul barely misses that little baby baseline J. Back comes Melo for the Nugs. Under a minute to go in the first. In rhythm, and he hits it right in Page's face. A 22-point bulge for the Denver Nuggets.
I mean, when you look at this defensively, they can't get stops. I mean, you got to keep finding options. David West is a guy that you need to score the basketball. I think you put Page and Stojakovic at the 4, David West at the 5, and try to get Kenyon off David West and maybe going against Nene, or maybe having one of those guys coming out on the front line guarding Page, because they need some space and they need some points with it.
Brazil Butler has checked into the game for the Hornets. And Chris Anderson, a.k.a. the Birdman, into the game for the Denver Nuggets. Chris Anderson, number 2 in the NBA in shot blocking during the regular season. And Carmelo Anthony flexing that right shoulder, re-injured his right elbow in Game 3. West at the line where he rarely misses.
I mean, David West is a great, skillful big man. He can shoot the jump shot. He can put on the floor a little bit. You know, he's getting better with his pass, and he can post up. You know, he was a young fella when I played in New Orleans. He's just a guy that loves the game, comes to work. He's getting better and better, and now he's an all-star. But they really need him to go to another level right now. Down by 21 points in the first quarter.
D. West at the line. This is the first trip to the line for the New Orleans Hornets, and David West makes them both. Denver 6 of 6 from the line. The lead is 20 for Chauncey Billups and the Nuggets here in Game 4 from New Orleans Arena. Under 10 on the shot clock. Kenyon Martin rubbed out Chris Paul, then gave him the business in the paint. Sean Marks pulls that one out of there. And here is Chris Paul. Shot clock off for New Orleans, and they're going to get a jam by David West. Great pass from CP3.
I love that pass. You love the toughness by Chris Paul. And you can tell these guys are still going at it up and down. The referees are going to have to take over this series. Start giving out technical fouls to clean up everything.
Double technicals on Kenyon Martin and Chris Paul. And as I told you on that previous possession, watch this right here. A takeout screen by Kenyon Martin. Now watch it right here. Paul gets back into the play, and Martin gave him the business once again. And then CP3 and Kenyon Martin, 2 very, very competitive players, called for the double technicals, and that's a continuation of the physicality and the rough stuff from Game 3 when there were 3 flagrant fouls and 2 technicals.
It's playoff basketball, and you got to be able to take it. The biggest thing right now for Chris Paul, he cannot afford to get another technical foul. Kenyon Martin is a guy, when you look at this team, if he's thrown out with Chris Paul another tech, the New Orleans Hornets are the biggest losers without Chris Paul.
No question, it's over without Chris Paul. It may be over regardless. Dante Jones hits a three. CP3 at the gun, and he almost banked it in. Well, I guess a fitting way to end the first quarter for the New Orleans Hornets. They are in a 36-15 hole here at the end of the first quarter. The Denver Nuggets shoot 70%. The New Orleans Hornets just 32%. Denver leads this series 2-1, looking to head back to Denver with a 3-1 lead. We're coming right back. Louisiana, Rick Hamlin and Steve Smith on the call for NBA TV. Happy to have you with us here on day 9 of the 2009 NBA playoffs. The Denver Nuggets, 36 points in the first quarter, and they lead by 21. You see the field goal shooting, unbelievable for the Denver Nuggets. 14 of 20. They have a +4 on the glass. They've played impeccable basketball while New Orleans is on pace for 16 turnovers, points in the paint, not surprisingly to the advantage of the Nuggets, and 5 fast break points for the New Orleans Hornets. That's the good news. It's been all in the half court for the Denver Nuggets. How do the New Orleans Hornets get back into this game?
Well, I think basically we know it's defensively, but I think the biggest thing right now is they're pressing a little bit. I think they got to run their offense, execute, got to get some guys to knock down shots. And I think the biggest thing for them is if you miss shots like they're doing, somebody has to get on the offensive glass. Some smalls are going to go out and rebound. You might have to look at a situation where a lot of teams like 2 guards back or 1 guard back, you mostly going to have to tell guys to get in there, get this offensive rebound, because right now they can't score and they don't have a lot of options. Look at the team out here right now, basically small, no post player. It's up to Chris Paul, and they are hawking him right now, and they're switching everything. It's tough.
3 on the shot clock for Posey. Spins, gives it off to Marks, and that is a shot, well, not a shot clock violation. He got it off the block by Chris Anderson, but the putback by James Posey, and Marks just got that one off.
Yes, he did, but you know what? Sean Marks is coming in and is giving it his all. He's being active. He's not a guy you go through him offensively, but he's being active.
Antonio Daniels roughed up on the screen from Chris Anderson. Daniels grabbing his right shoulder, and Byron Scott said with CP3 plan to play 48 minutes tonight that Antonio Daniels will flank him a little bit, and J.R. Smith the foul there on AD. So Antonio Daniels, the veteran, draws the foul. And he's a fiery guy, Smitty. You know him well.
Well, the biggest thing right here is the thing is with these screens, you can't hold your shoulder. You either got to come out or not, and you can't run back on the offensive end and you're okay. This is playoff basketball night right now for Antonio. Put your head down, get to the basketball, get to the glass, get to that lane, and they need another guy. This is where they missed Pargo from last year, where he can get his own shot.
I like the way you think, Smitty. It's all about being tough, and this is the roughest series that we have of the 8 first-round series in the NBA. This one is by far the most physical. And Antonio Daniels will head to the free throw line. 34-year-old guard on a Bowling Green. And he misses the first.
The crowd is still amped up here in New Orleans. I mean, when you look at it, Rick, their team is down by a lot, but they're still into this game. Because of the physical play, it is touchy in this basketball arena. It is a lot of vibes going on, pressure right now for the Byron Scott and the Hornets.
And Byron and his team feeling that pressure. They're currently being doubled up by the road Denver Nuggets.
They have a long time to play, though.
And the New Orleans Hornets are one of the best come-from-behind teams in the NBA, but the Mellow Man hanging and hitting as he flies out of bounds. The lead back to 20 for Denver.
That's just great body control by Carmelo Anthony. I mean, the biggest stat for me right now, not that the Denver Nuggets shoot a high percentage, they have no turnovers. They're playing a perfect game.
Out of bounds off of James Posey. He and Chris Anderson were going for that rebound, and Carmelo Anthony has 10 points on 4 of 4 shooting. Had 25 in Game 3, and looking like he might have a 30-pluser here. He is 5 of 5 for 12 points. Melo's got that look.
He has that look. Guess what? The Nuggets have that look. 40-18.
You are watching something special here on NBA TV in terms of the offensive explosion by the Nuggets. Paul cuts the lead back to 20.
This is the reason why I'll pay to go see him play, Rick. No matter what's the situation, he's always going to fight. He's always going to play hard, Chris Paul, and you know he's out here.
Butler trying to check Carmelo, wiggling, juking, firing, and he hits again. 6 of 6 start for Carmelo Anthony. He leads everybody with 14 to lead back to 22.
I mean, he had Rasul Butler at the top of the key like it was a video game. He had the controls, Carmelo Anthony. Put him in the blender, put it on smoothie, and knocked it down. Oh, my God. He's on an island right now, Rasul. Guess what? You got to make a decision. Make him go left, make him go right. You just can't be in no man's land where you basically didn't take away the drive, you didn't take away the jumper, and you're dancing with him. Make a stance, make him go one way.
Carmelo Anthony, a special player, obviously. Did not make the All-Star team this year. And was on the Olympic team, obviously, with his counterpart here in this series, Chris Paul. He is tough, and he is talented. And Carmelo Anthony and the Nuggets up 42-20 here in New Orleans, under 10 minutes to go in this first half. Posey fakes the 3, drives on Carter, rejected by Chris Anderson. Posey follows it up and scores the lead. Back to 20 for Denver. New Orleans hanging around. I mean, it's not 30, it's 20. It's somewhat manageable here in this first half.
Yes, it is. I mean, this small lineup is helping them. Yes, they're going to give up some rebounds, but I think this small lineup right now of Posey checking Kenyon Martin, because the Nuggets don't really go down to Kenyon Martin on the block. But right now, this is where the Hornets might get in trouble. Nene's back in, and they definitely will go to him on the block against this small lineup. Great coaching decision by George Karl.
2 starters in there, Nene and Melo. 3 reserves in there for Denver. Chris Anderson, J.R. Smith, and Anthony Carter. Carmelo Anthony fires again, his first miss of this first half. And a loose ball foul on Nene. We'll give it back to New Orleans. 9:20 to go in the second quarter, down 20. That's the first foul on Nene, the team's third.
And I like this. Antonio Daniels bringing the basketball, taking Chris Paul off the basketball. He just can't handle it the entire game. Let him play off the ball just a little bit.
Paul got caught up in the air. The double teams have really stymied him. Carter and Nene double teamed him, got the ball back. J.R. Smith moving and grooving. Off to his good buddy Carmelo. Down low to Chris Anderson, and the Birdman flushes.
You gotta love the floor game Carmelo is playing. You know, early in his career, he forced a lot of shots. He's trusting his teammates right now. That's maturity. That's being in the lead. That's also having Chauncey Billups come over, a guy who plays the game the right way. And also, tired of losing Carmelo, you can tell. He's getting into the way. He's playing playoff basketball right now.
This has been his best game of the series so by far. And here is Butler in the corner. Not close. The rebound taken by J.R. Smith. Posey falls down.
Posey hit that line. That was raised up on the floor, Rick.
And when Chris Anderson is hitting fadeaway baseline J's in your eye, you're in a lot of trouble. Denver by 24. And another timeout by Byron Scott, the third he has taken in this first half to stop the onslaught by Carmelo Anthony, Chris Anderson, and the Denver Nuggets. We're coming right back. We welcome you back to New Orleans. Everybody watching around this nation and this world on NBA TV. Rick and Steve Smith on the call of really a delightful first half for the Denver Nuggets. I know their fans are psyched right now. Their team is absolutely in the zone. They have been since the tip. Carmelo Anthony, 6 of 7, 14 points. They're still shooting 70%. I mean, it's one thing if early in the first quarter you're talking about 70%, but here we are deep into quarter number 2, 8 minutes to go, and they're still shooting 70%. Is this just an incredible offensive game from Carmelo Anthony and the Nuggets, or does blame go to the defense or lack thereof of New Orleans?
It's lack thereof defense, and also is the Nuggets. When you look at Carmelo and these guys right now, a lot of these guys are sharing the basketball. They're just knocking down shots. They're doing good jobs. Kenyon Martin setting picks. And also when they do decide to go one-on-one and drive the basketball, no resistance from the Hornets. No one's taking charges. No one's blocking shots. And no one's fouling, even putting these guys on the line. And that's what I'm surprised right now with the New Orleans Hornets.
Carmelo Anthony building towards this sparkling performance. 13 in Game 1, 22 in Game 2, 25 in the loss here on Saturday in Game 3, and he already has 14 here in Game 4. James Posey flipped it up and in, and New Orleans now trails by 22. Smitty, to me, they got to get this down to about 16, 17 at the half.
Yes, they do. I think the biggest thing is for these guys is find a way to get some stop. And I think these guys, they're not playing hard. They're not playing on the string defensively. Everybody has their guy not helping. You have to play hard defensively right now. Ooh.
And you know what? That was not a play on the ball at all. That very easily could be a flagrant one on Tyson Chandler. He just shoved Nene on this foray to the cup.
Rick, if you're going to shove him, you're not going to give up an and one. You talk about potentially a flagrant foul, he still gets an and one. I mean, come on, Tyson. It's one little move, and if you're going to foul, wrap him up, bring his arms down so he can't score the basketball.
You see the numbers on Nene in this game. Perfect from the field, and he misses the free throw right there. But Nene off and running, 10 points and 2 rebounds, and the Nuggets up by 24 points. Are you shocked by this, or mildly surprised, or what?
I am very shocked. I mean, because you're at home. You just came off a win. You know what this team is running. You know each other. And yes, you're a little shorthanded, the Hornets. But I think right now, for me, it was all defensively. Offensively, yes, you can struggle, but you're not supposed to struggle on the defensive end.
Razul Butler fouled from behind by Anthony Carter, and Razul Butler is upset with Anthony Carter. Carter says, "Come on, man, I'm just playing ball." And Razul Butler might have hurt his hand on the rim as he went up for that dunk because he was thrown off by the foul from Anthony Carter. Maybe the frustration from that caused him to kind of follow up there with AC.
I think a little frustration from the score and also a guy coming when you get up. He's just letting him know. And Razul Butler, right now, I think his wrist is fine. He's just straightening up his wristband. But right now, trying to change the momentum because right now the Nuggets are the more physical team right now.
And this is the way this series has gone. Very, very chippy. And a technical foul has been called. Technical foul on Razul Butler. And if you're trying to change the vibe and you know, trying to say, you know what, you're bullying us here on our home court, we're not going to stand for this anymore, but to take a technical foul, that hurts your team.
Oh, it does hurt your team. But I think the biggest thing right now for the New Orleans Hornets for them is you can see right now the Nuggets even up 25 points or 24 before that technical. They're not even giving up layups. They didn't concede that layup to Razul Butler. They hustle down, making you earn it. Getting hostile in here, Rick, right now.
Well, the hive is ready to boil over. See these fans down here in New Orleans? They love their Hornets, and they keep looking up at the scoreboard saying, really? Are you serious? Are we really down 25 and now 24? I mean, look into the faces of the people in the crowd. They are as stunned as we are and as you are watching at home here on NBA TV. Butler makes the first, rips the second as well. 2 points for Razul Butler. The lead is 23 for the Denver Nuggets. And Anthony Carter getting the treatment from the crowd here at New Orleans Arena. He may be booed when he touches the ball the rest of this game. Melo double teamed and it creates a turnover. Posey on the sideline up ahead to Butler. He had Daniels open. Butler goes up looking for the and one. 2 more free throws coming up for Razul Butler. And I hate to nitpick, Smitty, but a little pass to the middle of the floor right there was an easy layup for AD.
I think so. I don't think Razul Butler got a chance to see Antonio Daniels right here. He had his head down. When you're going up against a small point guard, he's worried about the basketball more than trying to get the pass. Yes, he was wide open, Rick. I think if he could have got his head up, he could have kicked it to AD for an easy layup. But right there, Razul Butler did the right thing, though. Put your head down, get to that free throw line. And I think right now, here's the guy who's had a terrific year for the Hornets. Stepped in while Page has been injured. And I think he's still starting to get it rolling right now.
Butler makes them both. Razul Butler coming into this game shot 60% through the first 3, 75% from three-point range, through the first 3 games of this series, and he's just made 4 consecutive free throws to take the lead to 21. And a foul on J.R. Smith. It's going back to New Orleans, and they're starting to stir it up here in the
Yes,
high.
indeed. I think that might have been on Nene with this pick. Look at here, Rick. Yes, I think they gave it to Nene. But right now, Antonio Daniels did a good job. You get up pressure, and you run through the pick. Coaches used to say, hey, when you're going through picks, the guy you're checking, whether he has the ball or coming off without the ball, you become one. You get close, and that's what Antonio Daniels did. And made Nene try to pick him off, which drew that offensive foul.
3 straight turnovers for the Denver Nuggets. 3 fouls now on Nene, and he takes a seat. Chris Paul guarded by Kenyon. David West passes up the 8-footer. Here's Posey on the move. Going right in at Chris Anderson, and the foul on the Birdman. And he's saying it was an offensive foul. Posey at the line.
I love what James Posey did. Throw the basketball. Okay, you're a shot blocker. I put my chin, I put my forearm right into your chest. And the Birdman turned. He didn't want to go up. This is playoff basketball.
George Karl and Chris Anderson did not like that call. They said James Posey initiated the contact, and the Denver Nuggets will call time. The Nuggets still lead by 21, but the Hornets are creeping like a creeper. Out on TNT, a doubleheader for you and yours. Game 5 between the Bulls and Celtics. Hopefully, another classic. The Mavericks and Spurs follow that game at 9:30. Game 5, the Mavericks, with a victory, can move on to round 2. And then, right here on NBA TV, a doubleheader featuring the Philadelphia 76ers and Orlando Magic in Game 5 at 7:30. That series all tied at 2 games apiece. And finally, the Rockets and Blazers, Game 5 from the Rose Garden in Portland. The Rockets with an opportunity to advance to round 2. That tips off at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And we bring you back to New Orleans Arena in New Orleans, Louisiana. James Posey at the free throw line after that controversial situation with Chris Anderson in terms of the Denver disagreement with the call. And James Posey, ever clutch. He is having a first half. Despite the sprained knee, 4 of 6 from the field. He's hit a 3, 10 points. He leads the Hornets in scoring. And with this free throw, he can get it to the teens for the Hornets. But he cannot. It is still a 20-point lead for Denver.
Yes, it's been James Posey. He's had a great first half, defensively and offensively. What he's done is brought that toughness, and also Rasul Butler. Those 2 guys have stepped up. Now we're looking for Chris Paul, David West, Peja Stojakovic. Those guys got to somewhat find a way, like you said, Rick, cut this down 13-14, so you have a chance coming out in that second half. You just don't want to rely on trying to bomb and shoot threes to get back in this game, real early in the third quarter. Tyson Chandler, whether it's injuries or not, he's just not helping the Hornets right now.
And he sits with his third, so both centers, Ailing coming in, both centers now on the bench with 3 fouls. And you said they'd love to get it to 13 or 14. They would be ecstatic. They would be downright giddy in that locker room if the Hornets could get this to 13 or 14. Melo trying to widen the lead. He cannot, but he taps it up and in. Carmelo Anthony now with 15 points, the lead back to 22.
Well, that's just a great move, and one thing you like about it, after he missed a shot, he cleared space and got on the glass. This is where everything goes out the window. When the ball goes up, you got to put bodies on bodies. You got to get guys out of there. Rasul Butler played good defense, but gave up on the play.
Chris Anderson comes up with that loose ball. 2-on-1 for Denver, AC and Melo, but they cut it off. Correction, those were points 16 and 17 for Carmelo. He is 7 of 9 from the floor, and it looks like this play is drawn up for him as well. Goes against Butler. Posey picks him up. AC from the baseline. Underneath to Chris Anderson all alone. Beautiful offensive execution for Denver.
Guess what, Rick? That play is made by Chauncey Billups. They had a play call. He waved it off, went right to Carmelo Anthony. He drew the double team, and then also Anthony Carter finished it because everybody was off balance because of the double team, and he fouled Chris Anderson for the dunk. Chauncey Billups making plays. That's just a vet point guard knowing where he wants to go.
7th turnover for New Orleans, number 7 with the rock for Denver. Driving on David West, out to AC, back to Chauncey. Plenty of time on the shot clock, it's now at 5. Paul up in his grill. Here's Melo, shot clock now an issue. Goes glass and misses. Rebound comes to Posey.
Good D by Chris Paul against Chauncey. Took up the space, then let him push him off. Use that shoulder to get a three-point shot.
Foul on Chris Anderson, guarding David West. And then Chris Anderson does the Kevin Garnett and doesn't let that shot after the whistle go through. And Chris Anderson, a former Hornet, has to feel good for him to play well in this game and in this series. But he will have a seat. Dante Jones back for the Denver Nuggets. David West, 6 points, 0 rebounds, 2 of 6 from the floor. Chris Paul, 4 points, 3 assists, 2 of 6 from the floor. These are New Orleans All-Stars. These are the players that will lead them back. They got to get it cranked up.
Yes, they do. They have to get it going right now. The Hornets need these guys. And when you were talking about Chris Anderson, Rick, what a fabulous year he had. I mean, this guy coming off missing a lot of time from the NBA. Didn't miss a beat, blocking shots, running the court. And he did a lot of this starting when Kenyon Martin was hurt and got a chance for these guys to keep that lead and also finish in the second seed. And right now, this total team back, they look very good.
It'll be an interesting offseason for Chris Anderson. I'm guessing that when his new contract kicks in around Halloween of next year, there will be more Christmas gifts under the tree in December of 2009. 22 points is the lead for Denver, 4 minutes to go in the first half. Denver has already said their number one off-season priority will be re-signing Chris Anderson. Dante Jones on the move, nothing doing. Rebound tapped by Kenyon into the hands of CP3. He's going to take it all the way, almost traveled, and he throws it away. Back comes Carmelo. They have numbers. It's a 3-on-2. Melo takes it himself, jukes and misses, and it's taken by Posey.
Anthony Carr on that last play against Chris Paul played great defense. Didn't let Chris Paul find his body, feel his body. Chris Paul got caught up trying to draw the foul and couldn't get his body onto Anthony Carter's body. He missed him, and then he just had to throw it away, and it created a turnover against Chris Paul. Good D by Anthony Carter.
And for Chris Paul, he has as many turnovers as assists in this first half at 3. And that was a nice knockaway by Carmelo Anthony, because that pass from Posey was going into the corner for Rasul Butler, and that is his spot. Posey working against Dante Jones, and Dante Jones just throws his body into James Posey, and Posey with 10 points will stride to the line.
That's what you do. If a guy's small, you get him on that block, you're pounding and pounding. Use his athletic ability against him, because we know Dante Jones wants to block shots. What Posey did to smart vet, hey, he tried to pull the chair, hey, I'm a pump fake. Just get to the free throw line because you're antsy on defense.
Dante Jones loves playing defense. He has a bloodthirsty mentality that George Karl absolutely loves. And he now, with 3 fouls, will have a seat. We'll see him again in quarter number 3. Posey hits the first. He has 11 points in 14 minutes. And the deficit for New Orleans is 21. Linus Kleza, the Lithuanian, into the game for Denver.
You know, he's dangerous, Rick, because he's the guy that can stretch the defense and knock down threes. He's the guy that can put it on the floor. He's versatile. He's the guy that can post up. And if he gets it going along with all these guys, they could be in big trouble. The Hornets, this league could even go out a little bit further. J.R. Smith, he is so talented. He's found his groove. If it wasn't for Jason Terry, I think he probably would have won the 6th Man of the Year award.
I don't think there's any question about that. And a tangle up right there with J.R. Smith and Peja Stojakovic, the foul on J.R. So when we return, the Hornets with the ball, but the Birdman and J.R. Smith doing it to their former team, Denver by 20.
Shopping at Aaron's is a joy, because you know when you walk in.
Right now, let's get you back down to New Orleans.
55-33, Denver over New Orleans. 2:55 to go in the second quarter. It has been quite a first half for the Denver Nuggets, and that is putting it mildly. Rick Kamla, Steve Smith, witnessing an offensive explosion with you all at home, wherever you are. Hope you're enjoying yourself on this Monday evening. The shooting for Denver, 64%. The shooting for New Orleans, 35%. 8 turnovers for the Hornets, just 3 for the Denver Nuggets. And that is Ryan Bowen and Melvin Ely suited up in civvies, and Peja Stojakovic at the free throw line for the Hornets. 2 of 5 in the game. He has 4 points. They all came very early in this basketball game, and Byron Scott does a great job of not letting you see him sweat, but you know it is a boiling cauldron of anger inside that body right now.
How could it not be, Rick, when you're looking at your team down 21 points right now? You know, this team, the Nuggets, are getting layups. They're getting anything they want because you're not playing defense. And I know the Hornets are banged up with Tyson Chandler and a lot of these guys, but you got to come out. This is playoff basketball, and this is why guys on the bench are so important. You have to be ready to play. I think right now when you look at it, Posey's came in, and we know he's to be a starter. The Rasul Butler's played well. Morris Peterson might be another guy that can come off the bench to give them a spark plug.
J.R. Smith posting up on Rasul. Kenyon can't get it to him. Chauncey out to Kleza. Kleza hits the front rim. Butler and the Hornets have a chance to get it into the teens here. 2.5 to go in the first half. CP3, 4 points and 3 assists in this first half. Let's get it going. Chauncey runs him off. Here's Peja, fouled by Carmelo Anthony.
Good job. I'm liking what Peja's doing, Rick.
I am too. He's come to play, but let's talk about Paul for a minute here. Is the second foul on Carmelo Anthony is delivered. We've seen double teams, and it's obviously been effective on Chris Paul. But we're talking about one of the premier players in the game today. We're talking about a player that had 32 and 12 in Saturday's Game 3. What's going on with Paul right now?
Well, you know, 2 things. You have 4 men that he set pick and rolls with. Kenyon Martin, defensively I'm talking about, Rick. He's agile now, athletic enough to slide his feet and contain him. Right now, Tyson Chandler is not going for lobs because he's not in the game. Then when you look at David West, he's not a guy that's going to set a pick and roll to the basket hard. I think right now, you know, what Chris Paul needs to do, run some 1-2 pick and rolls. 2 guards are not really adapt to coming out, stepping up. Run pick and rolls with Peja Stojakovic because when a guy helps, you can kick it back out to him for 3-point shots.
Plays are guarded by Stojakovic. And a defensive 3-second violation on the New Orleans Hornets, and that will result in a technical free throw. David West appears to be the guilty party.
For me, you pick out guys, Rick. I'm picking out Carmelo Anthony, and I'm also picking out whoever's guarding Peja Stojakovic. We look right there. Here's the situation right now. David West, he's not close enough to Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin doing a good job. And David West said, hey, I had my arm out. I was close, but I think he stayed in that lane a little bit too long.
Chauncey Billups, of course, nails the free throw. He has been quiet since a fast start to this game. He's into doubles with 10, also has 3 assists.
The reason why, Rick, he understands the game. He's saying I can get mine whenever I want to. He's getting Carmelo going. He's facilitating. He can take shots and get shots whenever he wants.
Smitty, that a break right there for New Orleans. Melo missed a layup. Rasul Butler missed the 3. So a blown opportunity right there for New Orleans. That was their first field goal attempt in over 5 minutes. Chauncey from the top of the key, not close. Rebound fought for and won by Carmelo Anthony in a foul. And James Posey and Carmelo Anthony get into it. And Carmelo Wise to just walk away. James Posey.
Well, you know,
Posey's
upset right now because the foul is called and Carmelo kept going through the play. So Posey's letting him know you're not going to keep playing after the whistle and throw a bowl. So he just gave him a little grab. And right now these guys, there's just a lot of touching going on, Rick. A lot of touching going on. It's this playoff basketball. The whistle was blown early and Carmelo kept playing. When he threw a little ball to Posey, he wasn't happy with it.
And it resulted in double technicals on James Posey and Carmelo Anthony. Chauncey now. Out to Kleza, almost fumbled it away. Chauncey doubled in the corner. Down low to Kleza. He lays it in.
you know, James Posey, a great rotation, but that was Page's rotation. Never came across the lane. You got to be on the string.
The lead is 21 for the Denver Nuggets. Chris Paul in a pick and roll with James Posey.
I like this. Now Posey is the guy that can make a play. I think it was traveling called on James Posey.
Turnover on Posey. And that is turn number 9 for the New Orleans Hornets. And Byron Scott and his staff and his team have a lot of work to do in the locker room at halftime. They trail by 21. The lead may grow. Chauncey and Carmelo. Melo peels into the paint. Peja on Chauncey in the switch. Under 10 on the shot clock. Chauncey goes right by Peja. Kicks it to Kleza, who nails the three. The Denver Nuggets have 61 first half points, and they lead by 24.
What happened was Chris Paul was telling the ref that Chauncey Billups might have double dribbled, but you got to get out to the shooters. And right now, Chauncey Billups took advantage of it, kicked it out to Kleza, who knocked it down. What a first half by the Nuggets.
Posey for three. No. Rebound comes out to Peja. Into the corner for Butler. Under 10 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Chauncey all over Butler. Swipes from behind and Russell. Butler nails the shot. 2.7 to go. No timeout coming from George Karl. It's Kenyon Martin. Picked off by Paul. Posey the three. It is off the mark. That would have been huge. 61-39. The Denver Nuggets lead Byron Scott's New Orleans Hornets. Let's send it to Ahmad and crew for the T-Mobile halftime report.
Hey guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the T-Mobile halftime show and some scintillating conversation with my man Ahmad and GB.
Good
times they can go back to
I
last
think they're going to get back in the game. I think they're going to. They're in New Orleans.
Hey,
down in beignets.
That luck ain't going today, but for them, man. No.
I think they're about ready to come back, man. You just pay attention. This is the NBA. That means, you know what NBA stands for?
What?
Watch the second half.
Yeah.
We're going to send it up to Rick Cameron and Steve Smith for the call of the second half. Got a feeling. I just got a feeling.
I got a feeling.
I think they know it's over too.
All right, thank you, Ahmad, GP, and C-Web. Entertaining as always. And is Lil Wayne in the building? That is the question. And if he is, can he come to the rescue of the New Orleans Hornets, who trail by 22 points here as we start quarter number 3. The first half featured 5 technical fouls. Melo and Posey got double techs. Chris Paul and Kenyon Martin got double techs. And Russell Butler a technical foul as well. Nene starts the third quarter with a steal, and then Chris Paul steals it right back. Chris Paul and David West combined for 12 points on 4 of 12 shooting in the first half, and David West starts the third quarter like he started the first quarter with a jump shot.
That's a big-time play by Chris Paul. Tyson Chandler getting the injury pass for that play. He didn't hold off the defender. Chris Paul just went back to Nene and said, give me that right back. David West knocks it down. Good start for the Hornets so far. Got to get it done on this end defensively.
Nene and Chandler both 3 fouls. Now Chandler has 4, and Nene will go to the free throw line to try to complete the 3-point play. Chandler will go right back to the bench with foul number 4.
Rick, when you watch these plays, nice move by Nene. Look at Tyson Chandler. He's trying to foul him hard, and he cannot give a hard foul without Nene scoring. You have to wrap him up, grab him by his forearms, and just hold him down.
Actually, Tyson Chandler should have 5 fouls because he fouled him twice on the same move. Nene completes the 3-point play, and the lead is 23. Paul has been harassed by Dante Jones in double teams throughout this game. Peja over Nene, not close. Rebound tapped by Martin to his teammate Chauncey Billups. Chauncey makes a move on Razul. He was tied up. The loose ball comes to Chauncey Billups. Fans wanted 3 seconds on Nene. Shot clock an issue. Down to 7 for Chauncey. The mellow man will launch from the left wing, and he will drill that 3 with the shot clock winding down. And the lead is 26 for the Nuggets, their biggest lead of the game.
Beautiful shot by Carmelo, but great recognition by Chauncey Billups and Kenyon Martin. A little flare screen right with the shot clock running down. Great recognition by Kenyon Martin.
That is foul number 4 on Nene. So he will check out with 13 points, 5 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Nene has answered the bell here this evening, but he will have to take a seat. And that's not necessarily bad news for the Denver Nuggets when you come out with the number 2 shot blocker during the regular season.
The Birdman, but what they're missing though is a guy that can throw it on the block. Now Tyson Chandler might be able to stay in the game because they won't be going to the Birdman, but he's going to have to make sure he takes advantage of Chris Anderson.
Phillips fouls with Zul Butler, and Byron Scott leaving Chandler in there with the 4 fouls, basically saying this is it. The season is pretty much on the line. We fall down 3-1. We're getting killed here at home. We got to leave him in there.
Well, great news for Tyson Chandler, no Nene. So right now you don't have a guy that's physically overpowering you with the Birdman, but you have to make sure you take advantage of Chris Anderson.
Chris Paul goes left on Dante Jones, and he is ruthlessly rejected by Dante Jones. Carmelo Anthony back, and he's fouled by Peja Stojakovic. No basket. Dante Jones and his defense on Chris Paul has been a major storyline in this series.
Well, it's been Dante Jones, but it's also been the guys like Kenyon Martin coming over to help the Birdman. And also, you don't have guys that's knocking down shots. If Peja Stojakovic is knocking down threes, if Phil Butler's knocking down threes, and David West was scoring, you couldn't come off and lead these guys. Right now, they're just packing it in, telling Dante Jones, get up, make him drive.
A sigh of relief for Tyson Chandler. He thought it was on him. It was on Peja, so Chandler still with 4. Stojakovic with 2. Carmelo Anthony makes his move on Peja. The double comes. Chauncey over Paul. In his eye for 3!
Wow. Chris Paul was so close to Chauncey Billups. They clapped hands, and he still made it. Chauncey Billups with the follow-through. That's just the assassin. That's Mr. Big Shot.
13 for Chauncey Billups on 4 of 8 from the floor. Chris Paul into the corner for Peja.
Wait a second. A three-point shooter shoots it over the rim.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's symbolic of this game for the New Orleans Hornets. And Kenyon Martin hits again. The lead is 31 for the Denver Nuggets as they look to take a 3-1 series lead. It's the largest lead of the game, and Byron Scott is bumming. Live from the Pepsi Center near the Rocky Mountains at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a doubleheader of playoff action, a pair of Game 5s, live and direct on TNT. And we welcome you back to the New Orleans Arena. Deep in Louisiana, a 31-point lead for the Denver Nuggets. They are shooting 64% for the game. The Hornets shooting 33%. Hornets with the rock. Peja Stojakovic still wondering what happened on that air ball. And frankly, so are we. Here is David West making his move on Kenyon Martin. Step back, Jay. Well short. Rebound to the Birdman. Here's Mr. Big Shot.
Is that considered an air ball, Rick, when you shoot over the rim? Most air balls are short. I haven't seen one go over the rim. Wide left.
And again, wide open.
Wide open.
Nice pass underneath. Chris Paul to Peja Stojakovic.
He hit the rim. He hit the rim.
I mean, we're talking about one of the best three-point shooters in the history of the NBA as Chauncey Billups picks up foul number 3. And Peja Stojakovic has 8 points in this game, but just 2 of 7 shooting as he heads to the free throw line where he is perfect, 4 of 4.
And we know the Hornets, they go as way of how well or how bad Chris Paul is playing. But when you have guys like this is not a young team. This is Peja Stojakovic, been in big-time playoff games in Sacramento. This is David West's experience. This is Tyson Chandler. You know young guys no more. Yes, Chris Paul is struggling a little bit, but they're putting the defense is geared to stop him. Somebody else has to step up. Peja Stojakovic, you've been around. Yes, you've been injured, but if you're, to me, you're in this game, you got to come out here and play.
Chris Paul has been stuck on 4 points for an eternity. Chauncey Billups over Paul. Defended well on the close by CP3. And here come the Hornets. Double teamed again and forced to give it up. Butler shoots over Dante Jones, and the rebound comes to Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo working on a sparkling line. He has 20 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. He has shot 8 of 13 for the game. West knocked it away, went back to Melo, misses the shot. Rebound tracked down by Peja. And Dante Jones is a shadow for Chris Paul right now.
That's his job. That's his assignment. Wherever Chris Paul is, you be.
Oh, David West got the roll. That is his spot. Chris Paul calls him the 17-foot assassin.
Well, I think right now, David West, yes, knocking down jump shots. Biggest thing is for me, David West, clean up everything on the glass. Defensively, start to get stops. Offensively, yes, we need you, but we need you more on that glass right now. There's more than scoring the basketball when you're playing a game of the basketball.
Kenyon Martin trying to answer, and oh my goodness. Have they opened up a door here at the New Orleans Arena?
He's mad at Jerry West, but he didn't realize Jerry West is on the other side of the basket.
Chris Paul almost threw it away. He rolls out of bounds. The ball will go back to the Denver Nuggets. One of the most frustrating games ever played by the great Chris Paul.
Well, you can tell. There's no room. In the paint, he can't finish. He can't kick out because they're not honoring guys with their jump shots. No one's really knocking down shots, so it's making it very, very hard for Chris Paul.
The Denver Nuggets are vastly improved on the defensive end. They rank in the top 10, matter of fact, the top 5 in opposing field goal percentage. That was during the regular season. Chauncey Billups now with a ball fake, passes it to Dante Jones, and Jones strokes it. He is 4 of 6 from the field, 9 points.
Dante Jones with 9 points. Defensively, that's just an extra boost. You're not really looking at him to score points unless it's in transition. He's knocking down jump shots.
Peja Stojakovic. Wow. I'm trying to be kind. There are a lot of things I could say. I'm going to leave him. Peja Stojakovic having a rough go here in the third quarter, but a nice defensive play there. Marks gets it up to Chris Paul. They have numbers. Butler in the corner. That is a 3, and it goes. Before Butler hits it from the side, it's 74-48 Denver.
Yeah, more than wow. Listen, I'm still stuck on what Peja's doing right now, but like what they did on that break, a little early offense for the New Orleans Hornets. They cannot score on a half court. They need to push the basketball, but you can't push the basketball, I guess, if you can't get stops.
John Marks comes to meet Chauncey, out to Jones. Kenyon Martin, 37% three-point shooter during the year, off the front of the rim, out of bounds. So the lead is 26 for the Denver Nuggets, 5:29 to go here in the third. And James Posey back into the game for the New Orleans Hornets. He led them in scoring at the half. Posey at the half had 12 points on 4 of 8 in 17 minutes played. And he's basically a starter coming off the bench in terms of his minutes played and in terms of his impact. Here is David West over Kenyon Martin. It's long. Rebound to Dante Jones.
Dante Jones doing it all. And the Hornets right now, no one else can make a play besides Chris Paul. Everybody else is just catch and shoot. They're knocking it down. Put your head down, get to the basket just like that.
Carmelo Anthony showing them how it's done, and the Mellow Man will stride to the line where he is 3 for 3 in this basketball game. He is the high man here in Game 4 with 20 points. Peja has just picked up his 3rd foul.
You can look at the faces of the coaches. Byron Scott, Kenny Gaston, Paul Presley. They're just disgusted. Because right now, I think you can live with not making shots. But defensively, you can't live with this ole layups, easy shots, no resistance from your team defensively.
76-48. West hawked by the Birdman. And David West with a mysterious pass to James Posey, or his rough vicinity. Mello from the right wing. Yes, it is good. And Carmelo Anthony is having a game. He had 25 in the entire game 3. He has 25 here in 31 minutes, 9 of 15.
Yes, indeed. And I love Chauncey Billups. What he's doing is finding the hot guy, Carmelo Anthony, and he's just feeding and look at Carmelo making that defensive stop.
Jones back, and he is roughed up by James Posey. Dante Jones will head to the free throw line. And Dante Jones has a pep to his step, and so do those Nuggets.
Yes, he does. All smiles, even on that tough play. Not all smiles on this side of the court. These are coaches right now just figuring out, hey, we're just getting out worked, we're getting muscled, and we're getting pushed around in this game.
Dante rings it in, and the lead, remarkably, is 32.
That's it.
Unless I'm wrong with the math, and
no, you're
trust
right.
me, taking 48 away from 80 is not the most easy math that I've ever computed, but Dante Jones misses the second. This has been an absolute demolition job from the opening tip.
Yes, it has. You know, I'm looking for Byron Scott right now. You know, go to some guys off the bench. You know, right now, maybe Devin Brown, maybe Morris Peterson, Julian Wright. You need some kind of spark plug because right now, this is becoming ugly. And you're starting to hear the fans here start to boo a little bit. And here goes Chauncey.
And you see the effort from Denver has not tapered at all. That rebound by Carmelo Anthony was a gimme that rebound. And here they swing it around to Dante Jones. Oh, he lost it going up for that three-point attempt. It comes to James Posey, not a CP3. The Hornets down 32, 3:30 to go in the third. And a traveling violation on James Posey. Another unforced error for New Orleans.
They're just not in sync. They're not executing. Right now, they're just not knowing where they want to go with the basketball. They can't find an advantage or a mismatch where they can get the basketball in and score.
Byron Scott, last year's Coach of the Year, befuddled, confused, and bumming out. And the Lakers, with a victory, can join the Cavaliers as the only teams in these NBA playoffs to move on to round number 2. Again, it's Jazz Lakers Game 5, 10:30 tonight on TNT. (80-48) Denver here in Game 4, 3:30 to go in the third quarter. And this reminder, log on to NBA.com now for the most extensive playoff coverage and in-depth highlights of this Nuggets-Hornets matchup, as well as up-to-date scores, stats, and schedules from the postseason. NBA.com, the game happens here. And always remember, live press conferences, both on NBA TV and NBA game in the 2009 NBA postseason. Carmelo Anthony dogged by Posey, wants it back. Chauncey's going to drive on Paul. He's cut off. Dante Jones inside the line. He's off. Rebound saved by Kenyon Martin. And Peja knocks it out of bounds. And 23 on the shot clock for the Denver Nuggets.
What you're loving about this Nuggets, Rick, are they're unselfish right now. It's getting contagious. Chauncey Billups, the facilitator, getting guys easy shots. You got guys like Kenyon and Chris Anderson getting on the offensive glass. You have shooters. You have size. And you have this guy who could take over basketball games with one-on-one play.
And another hustle play turned in by the Denver Nuggets. Dante Jones knocks it off of the knee of Peja Stojakovic. And another possession for the Denver Nuggets. They have put their foot on the gas pedal, and they have not relented this entire basketball game. Martin the miss. David West pulls it off. And a depressed CP3 crosses the timeline. And to think he had 32 and 12 in Game 3. He has 4 points and 6 assists here late in the third quarter of Game 4. And a foul on the tatted Kenyon Martin.
You know, and I said it at the beginning of the year. They're going to miss a guy like Pargo. Because there's the one guy that could get his own shot. And they played him and Chris Paul together, even though they were both small. Because here's a guy that took the pressure off the Hornets' whole team when things weren't going well. They missing a guy that can get their own shots. The rest of these guys, besides David West, they need Chris Paul, drive and kick out. Pazier, Posey, Rasul Butler, Morris Peterson. They can't get their shot. Tyson Chandler. They need one-on-one offensive plays that they can get their own shots, and these guys just don't have it. And that's why they need another guy in this offseason to pick up that can make plays for himself.
What we're seeing here is nearly flawless basketball by one team and a miserable performance by another, and it adds up to a 32-point difference on the scoreboard, and Carmelo Anthony bottled up calls time. And that'll be a 20-second timeout with 1:58 to go in this third quarter. The turnovers, a major story in this game. 15 for that crew, 7 for the Denver Nuggets.
Well, you can tell right now, you're not knocking down shots. You're a three-point shooting team. You only have 2 made out of 11 tries. The only good news is that you put your head down a little bit and get to the free throw line. But on that Denver Nuggets side, they're saying, hey, we're defending, and you can tell they are starting to enjoy defending, getting stops. Every possession, they're playing just as hard in this third quarter as they were playing in the first quarter, the start of this game.
And look at New Orleans Arena, and we recap the series here. You will see that Game 1, a blowout victory for New Orleans. Chauncey Billups, 8 of 9 from three-point range. That was a Nuggets franchise record for threes in a playoff game and a career high for Billups. Sean Marks fouls Chris Anderson. Game 2, another blowout win for Denver. Chauncey Billups again large, 31 points, 4 of 6 from deep. Game 3, not even close to a blowout. That was a thrilling basketball game. The New Orleans Hornets held on to win 95-93, and again, a point guard was the star of the game. That was Chris Paul with 32 and 12. And here we are in Game 4, and it looks like another blowout victory for the Denver Nuggets. As Chris Anderson is here at the free throw line, Steve Smith, I ask you this. What did you think before this series? Did you think it was going to be a 7-gamer? Did you think Denver was going to have this thing under full control? Because from where I'm sitting, I am shocked that Denver has blown them out twice and on their way to a third blowout over the pesky New Orleans Hornets.
Well, the thing is, you looked at Tyson Chandler. If he'd have been healthier, he could have made this series a little bit better. But when you look at right now, coming off the bench for the Hornets, besides Posey, he's somewhat of a starter. Paige Stojakovic's health and how he was going to play. Other than that, they don't really have guys coming off the bench that can make plays defensively or offensively. And you can tell right now Byron Scott frustrated because when he's telling people in the media and telling guys, hey, I'm going with Chris Paul 48 minutes. I'm going with my guys. And that just shows you right now, they're not deep enough right now. And they've missed a lot in this offseason. Yes, they picked up Posey, but they needed to pick up another guy, a backup point guard. Antonio Daniels, they got him over late, but he's more of a facilitator. He can't get his own shot. They don't have anyone that can get his own shot or anybody else that can draw a double team.
David West picked up his third foul, thus Chauncey at the line. 8 assists, and now 15 points for Chauncey Billups. And he is perfect from the free throw line in this basketball game. Sean Marks to save for New Orleans, but out of bounds. And Chauncey amazingly had his free throw streak snapped at 60 in the previous game. 4th straight turnover for Byron Scott's New Orleans Hornets, and it goes from bad to worse to worstest.
Till somebody go find a power plug and cut the lights out.
Well, they have yellow towels over there on the Hornets bench, but if they were white, they may want to throw it in. 83-48, Denver. 1:10 to go in the third quarter.
And that's third quarter, not fourth quarter.
It's just unbelievable. It has been an avalanche straight from the Rocky Mountains all the way here to New Orleans. Melo the miss, another offensive rebound for Denver, snatched by Chris Anderson. And we are under a minute to go here in the third. Nice pass, Kenyon to Chris Anderson, ends up in the hands of Carmelo Anthony fortuitously, and he is fouled. He will head to the free throw line off the foul by James Posey, his fourth. Melo 5 of 5 from the line, and he's shaken up.
Well, it was a nice hard foul by Posey. You know, kind of used the left hand to rake him over the shoulder, the right hand to come down across the head, but he didn't want to give up. This is where the referee's jobs it's going to start to get tough because it's going to get a little chippy. Guys have pride in the Hornets, and you're getting, you know, you're losing but 30-plus points. You know, fouls start to get harder. Guys start to get a little bit upset, and the referee's definitely going to have to keep this under control as far as the emotions. Look at the line for Carmelo Anthony.
First miss from the foul line for Carmelo, and a steal by Melo. Chauncey says, why not? Oh, my goodness. They just keep pouring it on. They are humiliating the Hornets here in New Orleans.
Turnovers. I mean, this one right here, you don't even show this tape anymore if you're Byron Scott because this is depressing.
Stojakovic the miss. Marks got that rebound. About a 2-second differential in the shot clock and game clock.
Look at the body language of the Hornets. No one's moving. No one's doing anything. Look at the offside. Marks, Pager, everybody's just standing.
And David West bounds into Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo does not like that foul call. And it is on Carmelo. Third foul on Carmelo. David West to the line with 9.9 to go in this third quarter. Linus Kleza into the game for the Denver Nuggets. And that, you know, you said it, the bench for the New Orleans Hornets, they do not come off the bench with answers, with weapons, with the exception of James Posey. The Denver Nuggets come off the bench with major firepower. J.R. Smith, the second best sixth man in the NBA during the regular season. Linus Kleza has a 40-point game on his resume, and Chris Anderson is the second leading shot blocker in the NBA. That's one of the best benches in the NBA.
And you know what? Give Anthony Carter some credit. Here's a guy that can run the team, who was starting at point guard last year before Chauncey came along with Allen Iverson, so he's serviceable. And then right now you have Balkman, who's a guy who can play. I mean, this right here, you look at it, 12 points for Posey, 1 point for Antonio Daniels, and that's all the scoring from the bench. And we know Posey is pretty much a starter. Dante Jones knocked down another shot. Ooh-wee.
It is 39 at the end of 3. A 16-2 run for the Denver Nuggets as if they needed it. They lead 89-50 through 36 minutes here in New Orleans, and you see the looks on the faces of the Hornets. It tells the whole story. The New Orleans Hornets essentially defeated, down 38 points to start the fourth quarter. To put it into perspective, the Denver Nuggets scored 36 points in the first quarter. The New Orleans Hornets would need to score 38 points, which is nearly impossible to do under any circumstance, and have the Denver Nuggets put up a bagel. I mean, this is an unbelievable story happening down here at the Hive in New Orleans. Glad to have you with us on NBA TV. Rick Kamla and Steve Smith on the call. And there are no starters in the game as we speak. For the New Orleans Hornets, Devin Brown, Julian Wright on the ball, Hilton Armstrong, Antonio Daniels.
It's the only starter in the game, Dante Jones, and they're going to him offensively.
And that is Morris Peterson, number 9 for the New Orleans Hornets. And you're right, Dante Jones, a starter in there for Denver, along with Anthony Carter, Chris Anderson, J.R. Smith, and Linus Kleza. Here is Morris Peterson. And Smitty, you've been wondering, quietly.
Whoa, he shot that with his left hand, his offhand. He's right-handed. What a shot by Julian Wright. Rick, you guess what? I'm impressed. He was caught him in the air with his right hand, switched it to his left. I know they're down by 100, but that was a nice shot.
That was the shot of the game for the New Orleans Hornets. Too bad they were down 38 when he authored it up. Lennis Kleza is fouled. Kleza will stride to the line. I wanted to trigger you on a conversation about Morris Peterson. We will get an opportunity to see him here in the fourth quarter. We've talked on the air on NBA TV Game Time. We've talked off the air about why he's not in the rotation at all.
Well, you know, here's a guy, a veteran, that's pretty good defensively. We know he can knock down shots. He's been in the rotation. Yes, Rasul Butler has probably beaten him out, but this is a guy, he's been in playoffs. I just think you have to find some minutes for him. Also, Julian Wright, an energy guy. Yes, he's going to make mistakes, Julian Wright, because he's young and he plays with high energy. But these two guys, along with Devin Brown, can play basketball. I think Byron Scott's going to have to now go to some of these guys to trust them, because right now they're getting worn out with just playing these starters so many minutes. If he wants to try to win, you know, game 5 down in Denver, if they have any chance, they need a total team effort right now.
Julian Wright is fouled, and he will head to the free throw line. Foul on J.R. Smith. Byron Scott won Coach of the Year last year with the New Orleans Hornets, directed them to the 2nd seed in the Western Conference playoffs. They took the San Antonio Spurs to 7 games in the second round, and that game was at home. And as you all know, it's about 90% that the home team wins a Game 7, but the New Orleans Hornets very much a factor in the playoffs, and this year, down 2-1, now down 90-53. It's just a long, steep fall for them coming into this playoffs as the 7th seed, and it doesn't look like they're going to hang around these playoffs very long.
No, not too long, and a lot of people picked them to even win the championship this year, definitely get to the Western Conference Final. This has been a big turnaround. You know, they didn't sneak up on anybody this year. I think the offseason getting Posey was great, but you still had to add another piece. Injuries hurt them. And a lot of these young guys, Hilton Armstrong, these guys did not develop. They didn't bring anything back after that 1 year going to the playoffs. Young guys like this, you have to be accountable because you're on a playoff team. When you're needed and your number is called, like when Tyson Chandler was hurt, Hilton Armstrong did not deliver.
J.R. Smith, the skip to Lennis Kleza, and Kleza has had it going throughout. Lennis Kleza into doubles now with 10 points. He is 3 of 4 from the floor. He's only played 6 minutes in this game. The lead, is 40 for the Denver Nuggets.
40!
Way off. And Ronaldo Balkman snatches that rebound. Here is the explosive J.R. Smith. Had it taken away by Julian Wright. And we've seen the glimpses that Julian Wright can offer. The circus shot that he hit. He drew a foul soon thereafter, getting his hands in there on the defensive end. And he's another player that curiously is out of the rotation for Byron Scott, as Chris Anderson is fouled by Julian Wright. And I'm not second-guessing Byron Scott, who is one of the better coaches in the NBA. He knows his team a heck of a lot better, Smitty, than me or you. He's with them in practice every day. But you just look at a Julian Wright, and you know, you use your imagination on him a little bit, and it seems like he's a guy that might be able to help.
Well, definitely. In this circumstances with these guys, the starters not giving you anything. And I think, yes, you're going to have to live with some mistakes. He's going to make some mistakes, but he's going to make mistakes going 100 miles per hour, trying to do the right thing, hustling, playing with energy, getting loose balls. Yeah, to every 4 mistakes, he's going to make 5 or 6 good things happen. Because he's active and he's young, they need some young legs and some guys with some athletic ability. Morris Peterson just talked good about you. Whoa!
Peterson with the air ball. Carter goes glass. Ronaldo Balkman. I thought that was going to be a vicious flush from the former New York Knick, but Ronaldo Balkman lays it in. The lead is up to 44. And I'm starting to wonder if the New Orleans Hornets are going to score another point in this game. Their all-time playoff low is 63. That was set back in 2004 against the Miami Heat.
And it's funny, Rick, you're talking about will they get 64 with 8 minutes left? And you would think in an NBA game, you would say there's no way that they wouldn't score 10 more points, but it sure looks like it's possible.
James Posey won a ring with Boston last year, and he currently and his team down 97-53. Chris Paul, one of true warriors and ultra competitors in the NBA today. And he is on the wrong side of one of the most lopsided playoff scores in the history of the NBA.
Yes.
Chris Paul in this game, 4 points on 2 of 7, 6 assists, and most devastating of all, Mr. Smith, an L.
A big-time L. This is not an L. This is take you out in the backyard and spank you. Oh,
And these are the looks on the faces of these New Orleans Hornets of a team that is being eliminated right now.
Yep.
These are not the facial expressions of a team that has one more game left. This is the look of a team that is defeated.
Yes, it is. I think right now, this Hornets team right now, you got to come out with pride. Whoever's on the basketball court in Game 5, you just must come out with pride. Yes, you might lose this game, this game for sure, probably, and then unless it's a miracle in the next game. But it all comes down for pride for me. You still got to come out and play hard.
Chauncey Billups and the starters for the Denver Nuggets.
Did you see that?
I did. And you see the fan behind the bench there waving his hand as if to say, come on, man, my own team almost hit me in the skull with an errant pass.
Oh, this crowd was into it from the beginning of the game.
They were ready, Smitty. They were ready.
Indeed. I give them a lot of credit. They came out, they showed up, but right now, might as well get home and hurry up and get ready for work tomorrow.
Rex Chapman, one of the great members of the front office in Denver. They have built a sensational roster, and obviously trading Allen Iverson for Chauncey Billups, a stroke of genius for this team. And people at the time, saying, why would you take on the additional money with Chauncey Billups and his contract? And what a shrewd move it was for these Denver Nuggets. Rick Hamlin, Steve Smith on the call for NBA TV, watching the Denver Nuggets and J.R. Smith go past the century mark. It is now 101-53.
I mean, who's checking in for Denver? Do they have any players left? That's Jason Hart. Jason Hart is trying to get in. I mean, right now, George Karl is just going to the very end of the bench. And all these guys are on all cylinders, all smiles. The score right now, Rick, they're up 50 in a playoff game.
Hilton Armstrong foul. You were a fantastic scorer in your day. Did you ever drop 50 on anybody?
I never dropped 50.
Is there a 50-point play in Byron Scott's arsenal?
I don't think so. That's old days when I was growing up. Hot shot, you get the 10-point spots. I played a lot of hot shot. Right now, this is a big-time.
Hilton Armstrong catches and puts it in. And mercifully, the scoreboard operator gets to put some points on the board for the Hornets. They have all of 55.
You see, he's right-handed. Left-handed is real sore right now. He keeps pushing 2-2-2, and his right hand is going to sleep.
Petro. And it's rebounded by Julian Wright. No, this is not the end of a preseason game.
Whoa!
This is the end of an NBA playoff game, and you take a look at the seats, mostly empty. This is just a surreal scene in New Orleans. J.R. Smith, beautiful pass to Ronaldo Balkman. It wasn't clean, but effective. A flush for Ronaldo, and the lead back to 50.
I'm liking what I'm seeing for J.R. Smith. You think a young guy in this situation would just try to get his points, made a nice pass, still playing defense. They're still playing hard. Good basketball is contagious. Everybody is rubbing off. And you can hear Antonio Daniels right now yell.
105-55, Nuggets over Hornets as we step aside. Sold out New Orleans Arena in Nuo, Louisiana, a.k.a. NOLA. 105-55, and we take a look at the series numbers. Nuggets 113-84 winners in Game 1. In Game 2, another rout, 108-93. Game 3, the Hornets won, making this a series, at least temporarily, 95-93. And here in Game 4, the New Orleans Hornets trail by now 51 points. The worst loss in the history of the Hornets franchise was by 50 back on January 10th, 2000 at the Milwaukee Bucks. Their biggest loss in playoff history was a 32-point decision at Atlanta back in 4/28 of 1998. Were you on that Hawk team?
1998? Yes, indeed.
The 97-98 season. So you were a part of that history, and now you are, as a broadcaster, a part of some incredible history for the Denver Nuggets and some impossibly negative history for Byron Scott's New Orleans Hornets.
We love history, but not in this type of way.
Not like this.
Not at all.
This is like war history.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad.
War history is not fun. Presidential history is fun. Okay, this history right here is not fun.
I am glad I am right at half court. This loss is something, if you're on that other side, you're saying, wow, what happened today? And for the Nuggets, you're happy. For George Karl is just very happy because he saw unselfish play from start to finish from his Nuggets.
J.R. Smith just plops that one in. It's now 111-55. I actually need a calculator at this point to figure out how far ahead the Nuggets are over the Hornets. And I ask you this on a serious tip. Kleza and J.R. Smith, to me, should no longer be in this basketball game.
I don't think so either. I think right now,
Petro fouled by Armstrong. I mean, George Karl is one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NBA. I'm not second guessing, but, 4:40 to go, the game is over. And these are key guys if you want to win a championship.
I'm trying to find something else he can put in right now. I guess he has to go back to the Birdman.
Well, listen, he does have 12 guys, okay? You play the last 5. He could put 5 guards out right now, and it wouldn't matter. Oh, my goodness. 111-55. We're coming right back. All-time negative stat for the Hornets. They have 25 turnovers in this game. I know you're not one bit surprised. Their previous playoff high for turnovers in a game was 23. 25 turnovers. An all-time playoff high for the Hornets. Congratulations. Petro at the line. Hits the first. And J.R. Smith's still in the game, and so is Kleza. But I guess George Karl figures at this point, this is like a casual pickup game on a Sunday afternoon in somebody's backyard where there's going to be very little contact. I highly doubt J.R. or Linus are going to be driving to the cup with reckless abandon.
No, I don't think so. I think right now you just pretty much come out here, you play token defense.
Ronaldo Balkman was not just playing token defense.
Well, no, not for him. He's out here playing. For guys in the rotation, you just come out here and you pretty much just stay in front of your guy, make him shoot jump shots, come down, run your offense, and you try to run all 24 seconds if you're the Nuggets out.
Daniels, rebound tracked down by Balkman. Here is Jason Hart, journeyman point guard. Really knows how to run an offense, though. And Denver was wise and quick to snatch him up as their third PG behind Chauncey Billups and also Anthony Carter. J.R. Smith getting an opportunity to kind of rub the noses of the Hornets in it. J.R. Smith obviously played with the Hornets. Previously, Antonio Daniels fouled by Petro. And J.R. Smith in this game. Not a vintage J.R. performance. He has 9 points on 4 of 7. He's had a real nice series, though, Smitty.
He has.
J.R. Smith third on the team in scoring, coming in at 16 a game.
Yes, he's played extremely well. The one thing you like about him, he's under control. He's taking good shots. Defensively, he's getting better. I attribute all of this for him is maturity. George Karl staying on him because everybody knows he's talented. Then you add a guy like Chauncey Billups and winning basketball, playing in games that matter. It's getting him to where he's learning how to play winning basketball right now. Everything was about J.R. Smith when he was young. He's still young, but basketball-wise, he's doing a good job.
J.R. Smith tried to turn the corner on Devin Brown. Feeds Kleza, almost banked that one in. Back comes AD for the Hornets. You see the shooting. And Denver in the first half shot 70% seriously for most of the first half. Ended up at 61 for the half. J.R. Smith takes it away. Coming back for Denver. Ronaldo Balkman. Ronaldo, what are you doing?
He was trying to run the clock out from standing right in the paint. He's trying to get a 3-second call.
Well, I was just going to say, he could only run in 3 seconds because he was going to get a 3-second call. Ronaldo, J.R. dimed you underneath. Go up with that bad boy. That is Jason Hart ripping cord. And it's 1:15-57 with 3 minutes to go in the basketball game. And J.R. Smith and Balkman playing pressure defense at the timeline.
Well, they're playing basketball. They're still playing hard. And I think guys like Morris Peterson, those guys, they just want to get out of this basketball game. Everybody does. This is, wow.
Well, the worst loss in NBA playoff history, in case you're wondering, and I know you are, and I feel like Vince Scully as I keep bringing out these random stats. March 19th, 1956. And by the way, I love Vince Scully, one of the greatest of all time. He's like 82 or 83 years old, still rocking the mic for the LA Dodgers. It's unbelievable. He still sounds like he's 44, by the way. The Minneapolis Lakers defeated the St. Louis Hawks 133-75, a 58-point drubbing. And let's try to do the math here, Smitty. 41 plus 15 equals 56. We are on the verge of a possibly historic playoff blowout.
Yes.
And because we've been subjected to 48 minutes of this, I'm actually pulling for the history.
Pulling for history right now?
If we have to endure 48 minutes of this, we might as well be witness to history.
Get a chance to talk about who played in the game.
Smitty, we can
who
tell
called the game.
We can tell our grandparents. Our grandkids, we can tell our grandkids that we called the worst playoff game in the history of the NBA. J.R. Smith driving.
Here it is.
Kleza.
We're not going to make it.
Julian Wright, right wing to Mo Pete. Oh, you should have gone alley-oop there to Devin Brown. Wait a minute. Devin Brown can't get up in that alley-oop, can he?
I don't think we're going to make it.
You don't think it's going to be a record?
I don't think so. What you think? We're going to make it? No, Mo Pete's going to knock down these 2 free throws.
Well, I tell you, there's other history on the line here as Mo Pete steps to the line. The lowest points for the New Orleans Hornets in a game, 63, back on April 21st, 2004 against the Miami Heat.
We won't make that either.
How can you be so sure? You suddenly have all this confidence in the New Orleans Hornets, and they're getting pounded by 55 points.
Denver Nuggets should not be still playing pressure defense. But guess what? Jason Hart, these guys are pushing it. I'm just saying we're not going to make history. We're not going to be a part of history. Uh-oh.
Here's Kleza. Yes! The lead is 58.
It's tied, right? The record is tied.
The record is tied.
Defense. Defense.
Julian Wright Got that
See?
loose ball. He is fouled by Linus Kleza.
Told you. Not going to make it.
The largest win for the Denver Nuggets back on December 2nd, 2008, a 39-point decision. So they have obliterated that. So Denver Nugget fans around the world, you can walk around with puffy chests on Tuesday telling everybody, my team had their biggest win in the history of the franchise. And you can also go ahead and tell your friends and your neighbors and even people you don't know that well that your team's moving on to the second round. Julian Wright cannot hit.
You have him moving to the second round already, Rick?
I mean, it's over.
It's over.
How can it not be over?
You never know.
Well, here's the thing, too.
You never know.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't be as confident about it, but if Denver won this game by 1 point, I'd be saying that. Because the way Denver treated New Orleans at the Pepsi Center, with the crowd rocking, with the home court advantage they have, with the altitude, with the fact that they're just playing a better team than New Orleans, it's a wrap.
Yeah, this series, Denver just has too many weapons right now. I think the biggest thing for right now is, I always talk about pride. And if I'm the Hornets, you got to come out with that pride in Denver. Uh-oh.
Woo. All right, so it's at 57 right now. Antonio Daniels to Devin Brown.
55.
And it's at 55. And the Hornets now are up to 63. So, Smitty, it looks like you will be right. It looks like this will not be the lowest playoff output for points for the New Orleans Hornets. But they may match that record. We're under a minute to go, mercifully, in New Orleans. J.R. Smith had his pocket picked by Antonio Daniels, and he's going to take it himself and get stuffed by Jason Hart. And he deserves that. He was unselfish. Julian Wright was open for a jam. J.R. Smith just says, get me off the court.
Correct play by him. Don't try to lay it up.
Under 30 seconds to go. Jason Hart to J.R. Smith from Denver, and it's good.
What's the score right now, Rick?
37 plus 21 is 58.
Tied up.
We're sitting on an NBA record right now.
And he's going to dribble the clock out.
So the New Orleans Hornets have matched the lowest point output in the history of their franchise at 63.
Lay it up, Devin. Oh.
And they are going to tie. It's the fewest points ever scored by the Hornets. A 121-63 decision in Game 4 for the Denver Nuggets. They take a 3-1 series lead, and we have witnessed history. Not since 1956, when my Minneapolis Lakers defeated the St. Louis Hawks by 58, have we had this big of a blowout. The Nuggets by 58. We send it to Ahmad, GP, and C-Web.
Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with Game Time presented by Hyundai and some scintillating conversation. Really scintillating after this.
Scintillating! Could it be scintillating with a 50-point loss?
Yes, sir.